we get another really exciting episode here at the Milwaukee Pipeline event. This one, I don't know, I can't say most excited because they've all been great, but I'm really, really excited about this one because in front of us we have two tools that we're going to talk a lot about that I think are really impactful to most technicians' daily lives. So this will be a really fun conversation. But my guest today, Eric Rusch, Director of Product Marketing at Milwaukee Tool. We're going to learn all about you, Eric, and really all about these wonderful new products that are hitting the market. So how are you doing today?
I'm great. Thanks for having me. We're really excited about these two new products and hopefully kind of get behind the curtain a little bit and talk about what went into it and what ultimately got us to the finished product that you're seeing here. But likewise, we're very excited. These two tools are used day in and day out by every technician, and hopefully it'll make their lives easier, make them more productive and safer every single day.
We're going to really dive into these two products, but before we do that, we're going to do another thing that I get really pumped up about, which is to talk about you.
Oh boy.
And hear a little bit about what you do on a daily basis, as well as how you got into Milwaukee Tool in the first place. So let's start with kind of your upbringing. What was there always an interest in tools, or what really led you to this point?
Yeah, so from the very beginning, my grandpa had a farm. My dad grew up on the farm, and while we didn't necessarily grow up on the farm, I was always helping at my grandpa's farm. So whether it was baling hay, putting it up in the barn, or just putzing around on the different pieces of equipment, that's really where it all started, was on my grandpa's farm. And from there, I went to go throughout college or high school. I went to go work by my dad, and they basically move soil all around.
Okay.
Bag soil. They provide it for the landscapers, etc. And with that comes all the heavy machinery, the loaders, the backhoes, the
fun
bulldozers,
stuff.
all the fun stuff.
Yeah.
So not only did I get to drive all that, but I got to also work on them here and there as well. So really from birth, I've been around tools, around this space, and it's really driven the passion for me to continue to develop solutions for guys like that.
What was your favorite piece of equipment?
By far the front end loader.
Yeah.
It was the one that I drove all the time, but you can maneuver around pretty quick.
And pretty smooth too, for the most part. Yeah.
Absolutely. So that was probably my favorite thing.
So did you know when you're coming out of high school that this is a path that you want to go?
Absolutely not. It was.
You threw me there. I was like, he's one of them that's like, yeah, this is it.
I'm like, all right, well, I want to get into business. I want to get into marketing, and did not really even know of product management going into college. I knew that I wanted to be on the business and marketing side of things, and just so happened that my paths crossed to get to Milwaukee.
Well, and it didn't hurt that you have this great company in your backyard.
Absolutely.
Essentially.
Yeah. Grew up in Wisconsin. I live about 25 minutes. Grew up 25 minutes. Still live about 25 minutes away from our office, and Milwaukee growing up is nowhere near what it is today.
No.
And it's exciting to have a part of this transition in the industry to cordless, and being a big part of that is something that we all take a lot of pride in.
And we talk about the growth of Milwaukee as a whole. You just mentioned it. It's incredible. I think if you looked in a shop, say 10 years ago, 15 years ago, other than that Sawzall that we all talk about, you probably didn't see a ton of Milwaukee. And if you fast forward to today, it's everywhere. Mm-hmm. The growth has been incredible, and you've been a big part of that.
Well, it's I've been fortunate enough to work on great products and with a great company like Milwaukee, and part of that growth is all stemming from the time that we spend in the field, time we talk to the techs, whether it's in the auto garage, the diesel shop, the service guy on the road. We spend countless hours just focusing on what their needs are, what their frustrations are, how we can improve their process day in and day out. And it's something that we truly take a lot of pride in trying to come up with solutions that make their lives easier and get their jobs done faster. And it's really propelled us to what you see today. But more than anything, we're not stopping there. Yes, we're seeing success. We're seeing more and more guys convert from air to cordless, and in particular Milwaukee cordless. But we know we have a long way to go, and we're not stopping anytime soon.
Well, that mindset is what has driven Milwaukee Tool to end up in the position that they are today, and I don't see that ever letting up, right? You guys are just kind of constantly pushing.
Absolutely. It's the constant paranoia of making sure we remain that solution of choice for the user. And if we rest on our laurels and rest on, we see red in the shops, that's where you're going to get out innovated, and it's that paranoia within our culture that really separates us from many others, is making sure that we focus on the user and continue to be that solution of choice for them. And hopefully that will continue for many, many years to come.
Well, and I love the pride behind it. Every single employee at Milwaukee that I've talked to has really referred to that end user and making sure that they get good quality, and you haven't lost the sight of that as you've grown. And I think that is such an important piece with a great company, is that you have to remember who's actually using the tool and make their lives easier.
Absolutely. It's the lifeblood of everything that we do. And our viewpoint on the transportation user has changed. When I first started 10 years ago, it was let's look at the automotive channel. Well, when you actually look at that channel, the vertical, and break it down, there's a big difference between the paint and body shop, the lube tech, the service tech, to the heavy duty shops and everything in between. So we've changed our viewpoint to be more defined for what each individual needs, and why you see solutions like you see here, stuff that we've launched in the past, and more importantly what you're going to see in the future, is that focus, that dedication, and segmenting out all the specific users within the transportation vertical has allowed us to hopefully continue this momentum in the future.
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be much that's going to slow you guys down. Before we get to the product side, I do have to ask you kind of a fun question. Do you remember your job interview at Milwaukee?
I do.
Were you nervous?
Oh, I was very nervous. Absolutely. When I was working at a different company before coming here, and Milwaukee was this upstart. It was this company that was starting to get some momentum, and you would start hearing them at different distributor shows that I would be at, but with a different company, but you'd see that momentum coming into play. And so, for me, it was I had some connections here. They said, hey, come check out Milwaukee, and it was nerve-wracking, because it was a completely different culture than what I was used to previously. But as I went through the interview process and truly understood what Milwaukee was all about, and how we are truly trying to innovate for the user and change people's lives, and don't accept anything but the highest of expectations from everybody, it was something I could immediately tell that was a great fit for me, and luckily they saw the same thing. So
I think I remember in my prior lives, the prior jobs, the interview process, and just sitting in the parking lot ahead of time and being like, this is terrifying. And when you see a company like this, you almost maybe put some undue pressure on yourself to get that job. And I always love asking people about their interview process, because it is nerve-wracking. And maybe that young person that's out there listening right now that might want to come work at a Milwaukee Tool, give them a little bit of confidence to say, hey, you can walk in those doors, you can talk to people, and really learn a lot about a company in that process.
Absolutely. We don't need you to be the expert on the tools. Right? We can teach that, but more importantly, the user will teach you how to be the expert in what we need to go deliver. What we are looking for is those culture, the culture statements, the stuff that embodies Milwaukee, being hardworking, making sure you're going the extra mile to get the product right, call out when something's not right, and we got to take a step back to get it on the right path. I think that's really what separates us, and who we look for in individuals to have the critical thought, be candid. If things aren't going well, like, we got to change it, and that's what separates us, and that's who we look for when people come in to try and get a job here at Milwaukee.
That's a lesson that every shop that's listening to this, I hope you listen to that. And I'm going to point at the camera and make sure that you're listening to this. You're hiring for your culture, and you can see that everywhere in Milwaukee. When you walk into the building, there's a sense of pride with everybody. There's a similar kind of just refreshing personality, it feels like, on everybody. And so it is, it give a lot of compliments to all of you as a company, because it is such a pleasure to talk to every single one of you. And it's because it's intentional in the hiring process. And so we talk a lot about that with our shops that are out there. Don't be so reactive in hiring. Take some time to actually get to know somebody, make sure they fit who you are as a company, and you're going to have more success.
Absolutely. We can train the skills. We can train how to do the job, the core foundation of who you are, and you got to be selective and find the right people to continue to drive progress in what you're trying to accomplish as an organization.
And I'm not sure nobody's done it better.
Technicians, have you checked out WrenchWay yet? It's a free online community for automotive and diesel professionals just like you. Whether you're job hunting or just looking to connect with other industry professionals, WrenchWay makes it easy to explore opportunities, stay updated on industry news, and help promote the technician profession. With WrenchWay, you can see detailed job info you care about before you apply or interview, stay in the loop with what's happening in the auto and diesel community, explore technician compensation in your area and across the U.S., track your certifications, and much more. Join the WrenchWay community for free at wrenchway.com or download the WrenchWay mobile app. Links are in the show notes.
Now, on to the product side, and we'll see if I can actually say subcompact impact wrenches.
Great job.
I got it. But we're going to talk about this new M12 FUEL subcompact impact wrench and the M12 Gen 2 Ratchet, both of which I think are phenomenal. Let's start with the impact wrench first. Can you tell me a little bit about what we're looking at here?
Yeah, so kind of the history on this product was probably about 5-6 years ago. We said, all right, we launched our compact wrenches in 18 and 19. We had the stubby, the original M12 FUEL stubby impact, and we kept driving more new product launches. We had the mid torques that we launched. We had the high torques that launched. We kept elevating performance and torque. And what we noticed and what we were hearing from the field is the torque is great. We love the torque. When we need that stubborn fastener to come off, we got the tools for that. But what we were hearing is we also want solutions that I'm going to be using 80 to 90% of the time. And 80 to 90% of the time, you don't need a solution with 1,600 foot-pounds of torque. And that's really how the M12 FUEL stubby that we launched last year came into play, and how we set our targets based on what the user was asking for. Give us something that's lightweight, compact, but can still pack a punch. That had 550 foot-pounds. With this product, we knew we were elevating the performance, but we knew that there's still a lot of smaller fasteners, plastic fasteners, solutions that don't require a lot of torque, but if you're using it all day, they want a lightweight solution. And that's really what we were focusing on here. Driving out size, driving out weight. And I think we've delivered on that based on the feedback that we heard from the techs through all of our testing. Is this solution is a great product that fits in well in their hand, can go on their tool belt if they want, or their tool cart sitting right there, and is great for all day use. And that was exactly kind of the inspiration of what this product was meant to deliver. Is something lightweight, compact, but for all day use, it'll do a large portion of their job.
And just picking it up, the feel of it is really, really nice.
We spent a lot of time also on the ergonomics, right? And that's the big piece of what we do. Yes, it's about trying to hit a torque spec and a size spec, but we don't overlook the form factor, how it fits in the hand, what angle should the tool be at for the right ergonomics and the common points that they're working on in a vehicle. Or on a piece of equipment. We take all that into consideration when we're designing a solution like this.
How do you take that feedback from a customer and put it into a number? So like when I say that, we're talking up to 225 foot-pounds of nut-busting torque. So when we look at that and you get that feedback from a customer that, hey, we want that torque, but we also want it to last as long as we can, what is that happy medium? How do you find that, and how do you get to the point to where you're like, okay, this is the number, this is what we've got to get to?
Mm-hmm. It's not black and white.
No,
it is spending hundreds, if not thousands of hours talking to guys in the shop or on the service truck, trying to understand what are the applications that they're trying to do and use the application to determine the torque value that we need, to determine the size that we need. And that's really where we focus, is if we can make sure that we deliver on the key applications that we think this tool should be delivering and what the user is telling us it needs to deliver, that will drive the specs. Now, on the flip side, if you ask a technician, I want 1,000 foot-pounds in a tool that size, like, that's a bit unrealistic.
Probably not going to happen.
So that's where a big part of me and my team's role is to work through those trade-offs. Yes, we can put more torque through it, but typically you have to grow the size of the tool. That's where we spend a lot of time going in and out of the field, taking prototypes out, taking SLS handles to say, does this fit into this application? Do we need to skinny it up? Do we need to make it smaller? Are we okay with decreasing torque potentially if we want to make it smaller? Like, those are all the trade-offs that have to go into our decision matrix to say, is this the right product for them? So it's kind of a science, and that's the fun part of the job, is your ability to take feedback from 100, 200, 300 different people, which probably all have different viewpoints on what this tool should be, to come into one product and deliver. And sometimes, we might deliver one product here, but it generates new ideas for future roadmap items down the road too. So it's a challenging, but probably one of the most rewarding experiences when you actually come out with this product. Is it's taking all that feedback and bringing it to life.
Yeah, in a really, really solid tool. And when you talk about that torque value and that technician that wants that 1,000 foot-pounds of torque in that very, very small package, one thing that comes to mind is, at some level, you're almost protecting the technician from themselves, because
Sure.
I'm sure I'm not alone in this, but I have used a tool that had too much torque for the fastener that I was screwing in, and snapped the head off of it, right? And there is nothing more frustrating than when you do that.
Totally. You have to keep that in mind, and that's, again, going back to spending times in the shop. You'll hear about those pain points. You'll hear about those stories where you kind of have to know, all right, with when you're using the 10 millimeter socket, what's the max amount of torque that we can actually put through that type of fastener, to make sure we protect the user from having to do a ton more work to actually get that out of the engine or whatever application that they're working on. So it is protecting the user from what they're doing, but it's also coming straight from the user.
This might be somewhat of a rhetorical question, but I would like to talk through use cases of this. When you're in a shop and you're seeing a technician use this, is there any commonality in what they're using, or it's just that all-purpose gun that you're kind of using on everything?
Yeah, for this tool in particular, what we're seeing is it's a great tool for under-the-hood type work. We'll do some underbody jobs, but with this tool in particular, all the smaller fasteners, all the dash, even some dash work as well in interior, that's where you're going to see the 1/4 inch and the 3/8 shine. It's becoming that everyday tool. The stubby will have its place, the mid torques will have its place, but with this tool, what we really saw was, again, 80 to 90% of that of the work under the hood is where this tool really shined.
Yeah, I like that. And perfect size for getting your hand where you need to get it, and with that comfort level in the grip. Just so many advantages to having a tool like that in your toolbox.
Absolutely. And for us, it's making sure we give the users the right tool for the job. And if this tool isn't the right one, maybe it's a ratchet, maybe it's a right angle impact, maybe it's something else. But giving users the option to do and use the right solutions for them is another big part of what we're trying to accomplish.
So I'm reading about one of the other benefits, a key feature, really. 4-mode drive control with auto shutoff. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, so in this 4th mode, we have this feature called auto shutoff. And we've started to implement this into a lot of our tools, but this tool in particular has a more significant value for it, because you're working on those plastic fasteners, those lighter duty screws, those smaller screws, the smaller bolts where you don't want a lot of torque. That feature will automatically shut off below 10 foot-pounds, so you will not snap that fastener. To your
that is a beautiful
that you talked
thing.
About before.
Yes,
we're trying to, again, allow the user to protect their job that they're working on and get it done faster and have a little more control over the work that they're doing.
I love it. Well, let's now shift over to the Gen 2 Ratchet. What can you tell me about this?
This one is really exciting and one that I love both of these tools, but that one in particular with the Ratchet, it's been a long journey. We started about 5 years ago in the development of that tool. And when we were going out and trying to understand where do we need to take this Ratchet space, we knew we had to make some big changes if we truly wanted to solve the user frustration. When we were going out and talking to users, there were users that wanted, that had the high torque, but weren't really thrilled with the big head size or the speed. There were users that liked the high speed, but didn't like the torque output. And that's a common theme across all ratchets within the industry is you kind of had to make a trade-off. And so what we said about 5 years ago is, let's just start from scratch with a ratchet. How can we eliminate that trade-off from the very beginning so a user can just purchase one tool if they want everything, all the best in, the best of both worlds? And so 5 years ago, it all started with the motor. And we completely thought about the motor differently than what we've had in the past. With this new ratchet, we developed a new outer rotor motor, is what it's called, a tongue twister.
I don't know if I can actually say that.
It's an outer rotor motor. And basically what our technical team set out to go accomplish is what can give us that power that we're looking for, but how can we drive out size? Because a lot of the feedback that we also heard from all cordless ratchets is it's nice, but it's still really big in your hand.
Right.
And so we also set out, can we get the performance that we want, but how can we take out size? And we found this incredible sweet spot with this motor technology that and design that allows us to accomplish all that. Now, motor development takes a really long time, and that's why it started 5 years ago, and we're finally here today. Building a motor from the ground up is no small task,
No.
but it's really unlocked a lot of key things that this ratchet is delivering for us. So from the very beginning to where we're at now, we saw what the motor can provide. We also looked at how do we make it more comfortable. If we can take the size out of the tool, how can we develop an ergonomic design to take advantage of that size reduction? We spent a ton of time with our ID team, a ton of SLS samples out in the field to say, does this fit right? Does this curvature on the handle fit well into the hand? And it's all those little things that went to the design of this tool that I think is going to get a lot of users excited to use it beyond the performance that it's also going to be delivering.
Yeah, and I think when we looked, you showed me the visual earlier today, the difference between the Gen 1 and Gen 2 motors, and it was honestly, like when you look at it at scale, almost hard to comprehend that the smaller one could do everything that it could compared to what we had before,
Yeah.
right? It's pretty wild.
And it's a kudos to our technical team. Our engineers are the best in the industry. They continue to deliver products that no one thought would be possible. A few years ago was the first 1-inch D handle in the industry. No one thought you could deliver a cordless tool that would replace pneumatic, and we did. And we did it again here, delivering a motor that's 20% lighter but gives you 20% more power over the previous one is like defies physics,
right?
Almost. So, we continue to exceed the expectations of ourselves, and again, all kudos to our engineering team. We have a world-class engineering team that continues to provide product like this.
And it is a phenomenal tool, very light, very just you can tell in your own head just looking at it how many different use cases you have for that. You can use that everywhere. I mean, that is a really, really nice tool. I think I've got a couple in my box. I don't have that. That's not out yet.
It's not. It will be coming in January, but we can hook you up.
Yeah,
we'll make sure you get the new one in your toolbox.
That's much appreciated. My last question here is, how much patience does it take when you're developing a tool over 5 years to not see your finished product go out the doors for a long time, right? Like that, you have to be more patient than I am.
It's the hardest part of the job, to be frank, but it's also the most rewarding. You're starting out 5 years. You have to have the vision of what you're going to want to go do, and you have to hold on to that vision along that journey. And the most important piece is the excitement of putting this tool in the hands of the user and actually seeing that launch and seeing the feedback at an event like Pipeline. that's the rewarding piece. You got to keep the sights at the end of the tunnel, and patience is definitely something that you have to have within the product management role, within the engineering role. But the small wins throughout the project, seeing a motor like that we thought we might be able to get it, but then you actually can deliver it. And in this case, it actually outperformed what we initially thought.
Yeah.
To developing an all-new mechanism to make it more durable so that we can shrink the head size. Those small wins, those small trade-off wins within the project, you have to keep driving that with the team. And that's how it keeps us on that path and keeps us excited for that very long journey. But again, it's the most rewarding piece on days like today, and more importantly, next year when we start shipping and seeing all the feedback. There's nothing more rewarding than that.
Well, keep up what you're doing. You're doing some amazing work. This has been such a fun conversation. Hope we get to talk more about this someday and see the evolution, but an absolute pleasure having you on.
Likewise. Thanks for having me, and hopefully we'll talk again next year with even more new stuff.
I hope so too. Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much.
Yep, thanks, Jay.
That wraps up another episode of Beyond the Wrench. If you liked this episode, please show your support by rating and following the podcast. You can also watch the video interviews on WrenchWay's YouTube channel. Speaking of WrenchWay, did you know Beyond the Wrench is managed and produced by the WrenchWay team? WrenchWay is an online community dedicated to promoting and improving automotive and diesel careers. We help technicians find the best shops to work at, and we also help auto, diesel, and CTE instructors get more support from local industry. You can learn more by visiting wrenchway.com.